welcome to the Superbike Show. My name is Lester. We are live right now. It is Thursday, the 14th of September. And yes, we're here talking about, BSB mostly, but also in between BSB, talking about Silverstone last week and Alton Park this weekend. We'll be talking a bit about MotoGP, and there's been some sensational news if you're a conspiracy theorist like we are. I say we because Kiko Alexander-Giles is back on the show. Hello, good evening, Kiko.
Good evening. I think it's such a pleasure to be able to come on a show without having the stress of worrying whether I'm in Italy, Holland, and Ireland, anywhere. It's nice to be on British soil for a change.
Yeah, Kiko was at Misano at the weekend, and you had a couple of issues getting back home. Tell us about it.
Oh, I'm going. My luggage was out everywhere over the weekend, but I'm here, and luckily I didn't go missing, or unluckily, depending on your view of me, of course. But yeah, all good here, and I'm in a nice warm room, unlike I was on Sunday when I was stood in a freezing cold Misano circuit on a grass bank, slipping and sliding all over the place.
So expect, and that was just because he wasn't at all drunk, but expect plenty of name dropping throughout throughout tonight's show, because Kiko obviously told exactly what he was getting up to and who he heard the news from, because I'll be asking him to divulge what juicy gossip he heard all throughout the show. And we know you can't resist, really, Kiko.
Well, I have to resist on a couple of things, so
I'm sure you can. But I suppose the biggest news, well, there's two equal bits of big news tonight. Incidentally, before we dive into the news, because we are live, and to prove we're live, because I know some people don't actually think we are live here on Motorsport Radio, you can get in touch with us on tonight. We're streaming, I think, on YouTube, on Twitch, on something called Mixer, on something else as well, and on the Motorsport Radio Facebook page. So hello, thank you for listening, if that is indeed what you're doing live. But to prove we're live, you can get in touch with us and disagree with anything that Kiko says tonight on the show, and we'll be very happy to air your views, as long as they're clean, I suppose. So do get in touch. It's at MSport Radio on Twitter, by the way. And how can people get in touch with you directly, Kiko?
At MotoGP Kiko is probably the easiest way to. I'm always on Twitter. Otherwise, it's Facebook, Kiko Alexander Giles, or you can have my email, but you'll have to directly message me for that one. Okay,
fantastic stuff. And as we dive into some big news, there's been a new calendar unveiled provisional calendar for 2018 in MotoGP, and one ominous omission, which we might probably... Should we start off with that?
Go on then, why not, since you mentioned it. Silverstone held the British Grand Prix, and it has done since 2010. However, if you look on the provisional calendar list, Silverstone is not on the circuit list. It is to be announced. The British Grand Prix is happening, but where? We don't know. Obviously, it's a bit of a toss-up between Silverstone and Donington Park, because they're the only two circuits that are really fit to host the British Grand Prix. The Circuit of Wales definitely isn't happening now. We've known that for quite some time, because they're still to put a spade in the ground as far as that was concerned. But it has been made aware that Donington Park is in motion. They believe that they could host a Grand Prix if they wanted to. They are fit to host a Grand Prix if they wanted to. And 2018 looks like they will do. But of course, Silverstone look like they're losing to Formula One. So will they want to let MotoGP go too? I'm not so sure.
Well, there was something that we did talk about on, I think, last week's show, or the week before, the last time we did a Superbike show anyway, something that we did touch upon, and it was some of the reviews that Silverstone had, let's be polite and say that, versus some of the benefits that other tracks might have, and the possibilities of where MotoGP could realistically go. For example, like, I don't know, Donington. And one new owner of Donington, or one new leaseholder of Donington, Mr. Jonathan Palmer, aka MSV, was spotted at Misano in MotoGP at the weekend, Kiko.
He was, and one would only imagine that's to sew up a deal with Dorna to get Donington Park back on a MotoGP calendar. It'd be a popular move. A lot of the fans say Donington Park is its rightful home. It should never have left Donington Park. Donington has got into a position now where it's actually financially viable to hold a MotoGP. They've had troubles in the past after Formula One let them down going there. So it would make sense. Looking at hotels, they look already more or less booked out for the dates that the British Grand Prix has been announced, which I can tell you, looking at it, is the 26th of August weekend. So
did you say that already all hotels around Donington are coincidentally booked that same weekend?
So they might have this event on. It might be the British Grand Prix. Who knows? But apparently that's what is happening. And I have my sources, and no, it's not ketchup or mustard or anything like that. It's official sources that tell me these things.
What, like the MotoGP website?
Well, maybe, but also a few people have noticed that the hotels are sold out. So maybe the teams have had a bit of a heads up. We're going to Donington Park next year. So book in while you can before we officially announce it to the public who want to go. However, teams may have already booked and have a clause in it where you can just cancel for free if it goes to Silverstone, of course. We might be looking completely outside the box. At the end of the day, the British Grand Prix is up in arms. It might not be at Silverstone. It might be at Donington. It might not be at Donington. It may remain at Silverstone. We will have to find out nearer the time. Dorna won't want to keep it from us too long because teams have to budget for their year. Riders have to train for whatever, and at the end of the day...
lots of whatever.
They have to train for the fitness, they have to know what they're doing. Sponsors need to know how many races they need to pay for, whatever. It is all going to be coming down. I think we'll know by the end of the year. I don't think that, Dorna won't want to hold it off for their own reason. They'll have reasons themselves not to hold it off. So I think, but come Valencia at the end of this year, Donington Park or Silverstone, in any particular order, will be confirmed as the British Grand Prix events.
Yeah, it can only be one of two places, as we've said previously. And Silverstone's had a good run. It's had a good go at it, and I think it might just be time to
they might
give Donington a crack at it.
Did with the alternation of the German Grand Prix, so they might have it 1 year Donington, 1 year Silverstone. The problem that Donington Park would have with that is that they're going to have to upgrade their facilities. There's no two ways about that. So would they want to update their facilities based on every 2 years you host the British MotoGP?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think putting myself in the mind of a master negotiator like Mr. Palmer, which might be impossible, but I think if I was doing the deal to get MotoGP to come to my circuit, Donington, the lease that he's got, I'd say, well, okay, let's sign something like a 10-year deal, and I will, knowing that, if you give me this 10-year deal, I will make these improvements, and show them the progression. So yes, it needs this amount of improvement and in infrastructure and investment. I'm happy to make that, knowing that I have a 10-year deal with MotoGP. I think that might happen.
I think that might well just help them, and I think that a lot of fans for a long time didn't see an issue with it leaving Donington Park in the first place. A lot of fans were quite content going to the middle of the country. Let's not forget, it's not really a million miles away from anywhere unless you live up on John O'Groats, for example, or if you live down in Dover. It might be a bit of a trek then. But at the end of the day, it's not that much further than Silverstone, but it is more central. It's more convenient. You can fly into East Midlands Airport. So it is, at the end of the day, a logistical option to go for if the improvements are made. We have to remember track safety will have to be looked at. It isn't confirmed that the track is necessarily safe enough at the moment. Now, we know we've seen big crashes this year in BSB, but you can only eliminate so much of the risk. And, I'm sure, like you say, Jonathan Palmer, MSV will have the money. They will want to, in effect, put a lot of money and improvements into it so that the MotoGP can go there. That's what they want.
Tell us your thoughts, if you have any at all. If you know something that we don't, perhaps if you know where MotoGP will be going. Will it be Silverstone? Will it be Donington? Maybe it might be the new circuit that's being proposed in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. But then again, looking at their plans, they haven't seemed to plan that people watch MotoGP. Where's the grandstands? Have you seen where the grandstands are?
Well, they're relatively. I mean, the biggest cost is the facilities and the actual track. I mean, temporary grandstands you can ship in and ship out. Silverstone did that for many years.
Temporary grandstands, that's a bit...
Yeah, it happened. They're cheap enough to do, I think. I've no idea.
Cheap
I don't know
enough,
what
but
I'm talking
Premier world-class event, I'm not so sure on that. But, again, we might be wrong.
We're not talking about a couple of step ladders.
Then, yeah, I know, of course not. We're talking about 4 or 5 step ladders. But, you know, we wait and see. Because, again, this is another one of those amazingly proposed circuits. And, again, the Circuit of Wales was proposed and the offer was turned down. It never got dug into the ground. So we will wait for that. But the new Northern Irish circuit looks good. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out.
Yeah, I'll certainly keep my eye on that anyway across some of our other shows that we do here on Motorsport Radio. But let us know if you think that maybe Donington Park is probably a better place for MotoGP in Britain. Then, yeah, get in touch and tell us why. And would you have, because we talked about it the other day, Kiko, the alarming drop-off in visitors to the British Grand Prix. Are you someone who would go to the British Grand Prix, maybe pay the same price, knowing that it's at Donington, you've got a couple of less hours to get home, depending on where you live in the country, knowing that it's Donington as well, so you've got that type of circuit? I don't want to try and say Donington's a better circuit than Silverstone, but I kind of did, didn't I?
No, I don't think I'd be any more inclined to go to a MotoGP event at Donington. It'd be more convenient for me because I live an hour away driving.
It probably won't be any cheaper.
No, exactly. The British Grand Prix at the end of the day is still going to be held in Britain, and that's one thing that we must underline. Just because it's going to Donington does not necessarily mean that the British Superbike, the British Grand Prix, will be any cheaper than what it is now at Silverstone. So, you know, I think that's a very important point we have to get across. Yeah, it might be better for viewing at Donington, and it might be a bit more convenient, but, you know, that's not necessarily going to bring the price down any pounds or pennies. You know, we're talking about the British Grand Prix being held at a British circuit. So the prices, they might change a fiver each way, but I wouldn't say there'd be a massive drop-off.
I have just had a quick look at the Donington website, and there predictably isn't anything that gives me any indication about that. They don't even have any sort of events on a preemptive 2018 calendar yet. No. But already some of the newspapers, I'd say the national newspapers, speculating that the Silverstone race could be axed for 2018 after the draft schedule release, probably intimating that the British Grand Prix is going to be axed, which isn't the case.
No, that's one thing that's very clear. The British Grand Prix will be going ahead. It's just the venue is to be announced.
Interestingly as well, the way my mind works, that if Donington, and I'm sure they definitely can prove that they can put on a great show at Donington with the current MotoGP. We know they've done it in the past, but current conditions, it needs a bit more investment and upgrading. But if they can show, for example, that they can put on a good show at Donington with MotoGP, then presumably they can also pitch for Formula One as well and take that away from Silverstone, because that's under threat as well. They
could, but, and I've said it before, running MotoGP events at Formula One, or running MotoGP and Formula One events at the same circuit, is not what I consider a safe and viable option, because cars require different types of runoff to bikes, and bikes require different types of runoff to cars. They both require different facilities. One might require a larger garage. So at the end of the day, as much as the British Grand Prix probably would be better as a Formula One spectacle at Donington, I'm not so sure that it's a good decision to be made for the British Grand Prix, Formula One Grand Prix to go there, because I just don't see why would you? You know, Silverstone, have said that they're not going to keep it on, but that would mean to me that they would do absolutely everything to take MotoGP, because they need some sort of investment, because World Superbikes aren't going there. British Superbikes go there, and they probably have loads and loads of other events throughout the year. Yeah, but there's nothing bigger than the Grand Prix. So again, you know, there's arguments to both sides.
True. Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't think it's.
It's definitely not set in stone.
No,
Definitely.
I mean nothing's confirmed and nothing's definite, and I don't think it's a case of either just sort of sharing the events around and say, well, okay, Silverstone, we've got MotoGP, said Donington. You can have F1. I think it'll just be a pure bidding war, to be honest.
Yeah.
Brexit and all that.
Where the money is, and it'll be where I think the riders will have a say as well. They love Silverstone, and the facilities at Silverstone are fine. So maybe they'll have another 2 years there.
Yeah, I think the riders themselves and the teams don't really care too much about the facilities. It's more the...
A lot of riders, though, across all classes, British Superbikes, World Superbikes, when they went there, MotoGP, they like Silverstone because it's fast. It's a proper riders' track, and they do like that. Problem is, they also like Donington. So they've got to make a decision. The organisers have to make a decision, and like we say, they've got to do it soon. Everyone needs to know where they stand going into next year, because provisionally we have a record-breaking number of events on next year's calendar. It's great for the fans. Yeah,
and to give you a quick sort of rundown of the penciled-in events,
Yes.
The calendar starts once again on the middle of March at Qatar, which has been brought into question by you in the past. But we've had that debate. I
am surprised they have announced Qatar on the provisional calendar. I would have thought, again, the first Grand Prix might be to be announced, because I think the political situation in Qatar is not looking to be getting any better or worse.
Well, I don't think if they've got a contract with Qatar, I don't think they can then turn around and say, well, the first round is to be announced. If they already have an existing contract, I think it's going to be the other way around. It'll be Qatar, and then if anything does happen, then it'll change last minute rather than the other way around. Argentina.
To underline, it's provisional 2018. Things can change.
Certainly can. And Argentina, the second round, and the Circuit of the Americas, round 3, happening in the second half of April. How many times is that the Circuit of Americas that we would have been to now? 4 years? 4? When did it open?
16, 17, 6th year we would have been going there.
6 years already?
2013, I think they started, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it was the 6th year. Then it moves on to Europe. Jerez is the first European round as ever, moving on to Le Mans in France. Madness at Mugello. Catalonia follows. We return to the old Circuit Catalonia, which is a little bit of a debate for me. 8th round of the year is Assen, which is in July, not in June, as it always traditionally was. Then it's the Saxon Ring. They have 3 weeks off. That is it. 3 weeks. They had 4 weeks off this year. Only 3 weeks. Then they return the Czech Grand Prix and the Austrian Grand Prix back to back, same as this year at Brno and the Red Bull Ring. Then we move on to the British Grand Prix circuit is to be announced. Then it's Misano. The chaos of Italy is back again. Aragon is the 3rd Spanish round and the last Spanish round, and the last European round until Valencia. But in between that, we go to new tracks, i.e. Thailand. Buriram gets the venue, and that's 2 weeks after Aragon. Then you have 2 weeks off again before we go to Japan, Australia and Malaysia. They are the 3 traditional flyways. They are all back-to-back. Circuits calendar is at 19 this year. We end in Valencia in the Spanish sun. Hopefully, we don't want to be having the rain in Spain, but it is a record-breaking calendar. 19 circuits, 19 Grand Prix concerned, 18 circuits confirmed. The only one we're waiting on is whether the British Grand Prix or not will go to Donington or Silverstone.
Indeed. I think we'll know before the end of the season, before the end of the year, regarding Donington. I think it's coming in the next few weeks.
Yep. And don't forget, as well as much as this calendar, we're talking about 2018, in 2019, Finland joined. So we've got 20 Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the rumours of Kazakhstan joining, because Jorge Lorenzo's already been an ambassador for the country and the circuit they're building near the former capital of Almaty. So that could be 21. India, will that happen? 22. There's loads and loads of topic conversation. We could overtake Formula One in the circuits department very soon.
And just give us a quick reminder then, Kiko, of what the Finnish track is called.
It's the Kimi Ring.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Kimi Räikkönen.
exactly. And
Because we spell it differently.
yeah, and certainly not what you said on a previous show either.
No, what was that again, Lester? Can you remind me?
I think it was the rimming ring.
Oh, okay. Thought you would remind me.
Okay. Yeah. So so that's the calendar basically. But I'm sure you already know it because you should know these things. If I know these things, then you're definitely going to know these things.
Well, definitely. I cannot see how you wouldn't know these things. You know,
you want to know these things exactly. Valencia end of season, is that the best place to end a MotoGP calendar next year, or could it have been maybe somewhere else?
I don't think Valencia is the best track at all for MotoGP, to be quite honest. I wouldn't be sad to see it go. Where do you have it, though? You know,
Donington.
Four Spanish rounds is a joke, to be quite fair. Yeah, okay, Dorna, Spain. But 4 Spanish rounds, give me a rest. Cap it at 2. Cap it at 2.
Why 2 when they could and do have more?
But there's other countries that have great circuits as well.
Mm.
You know, let's go there. Go to another market. The Chinese Grand Prix. Well, how can we not go to a Chinese Grand Prix in the 21st century?
It's all about money, though, isn't it? We've been through this.
No, it's all about money. It's all about what nationality the series is owned by and organised by, and unfortunately, it's owned by Spanish people, which insist on having 4 Spanish rounds, and it drives me mental. Why do we go to Valencia? It's a go-kart track. It is a go-kart track. It's ridiculous. It's great for fans. It's got the longest continuous grandstand in the world, but it's just what does it do for us?
Provides.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we go to somewhere else? Why can't we go to a new circuit? Kyle Army. I keep saying South Africa. It's madness. They've just done their circuit up to have a MotoGP, and again for the next 2 years, it's not on the calendar. Why? It's madness. Honestly, I just do not understand why we continue to go to Valencia. It's brilliant for fans, but it's just we seem to forget motorsport is for the purpose of bike racing or car racing. You know, Cadwell's great for fans. We wouldn't go there, would you? No, of course you wouldn't. So why?
What's wrong with Cadwell? What are you dissing Cadwell for now?
No, Cadwell's fine, but you can't have a Grand Prix there. Can you imagine it?
Yeah, I can. It'd be fantastic.
You can't have top and bottom paddock. That would be just ridiculous. Not for what we have now. You know, it just baffles me. Year in, year out, we insist on having 4 races. I'm going to start a revolution. Get rid of 4 races. Have 2. Have 2. Take Aragon off and take Valencia off. Aragon is a stop-start track. Don't like it. Never have. Keep that for World Superbikes. I just don't see why. I don't know. I just don't know why we go to so many Spanish circuits. Jerez and Catalunya, well, they were fine on their own 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or before Aragon came along. Fair enough, we've always had 3, or more or less always had 3. But to have 4, it's just like, it's nearly like a quarter of a year. Just going to Spain.
Well, nothing necessarily wrong with that, of course.
Well, yeah, but other circuits might want to have a look in, but they can't because teams don't want to go to more than 18 rounds. Tough luck, they are next year, and a year after going to 20. But teams won't want to go to 21 meetings a year. That's just a joke for them. More money, more stress, more time away from family. They won't want that.
I think if you're the premier motorcycle championship in the world, then you've just got to sort of deal with having so much popularity, more races than is comfortable happens to Formula One. And I suppose if it was the other way around, if it had fewer races and the championship was on a bit of a slide, like it actually was, I think in like 2011, 2012-ish sort of thing.
Yeah, that was with fewer riders. It's interesting you bring in Formula One there. Formula One's made a great rule, one of their only brilliant great rules that they've ever made at all, because I just don't get their logic either. But with circuits, they actually are common sense rules. Don't have more than one in the same country. It's just normal.
I don't know if that's a rule. That's probably just because...
No, that's why the Azerbaijani race, all right, they have it in Azerbaijan, but they call it the European Grand Prix.
Yeah, for many years, the European Grand Prix was held in Germany.
Yes, and that's why they want to have the European Grand Prix, so they have it in another country that hasn't already got a circuit.
So there should be perhaps, let's say, or have one of the Spanish rounds, rename and do what like F1 did, and just call it maybe a generic European track, and then have that a venue float around.
I don't think there's a big movement for Spain to pull out the EU. So, just do that. I'd rather have that than have it the Valencian Grand Prix, the Grand Prix of Aragon, the Grand Prix of Catalonia, Barcelona, the Grand Prix of Spain, which is the Jerez round. Just have three. Just have three Spanish circuits. Because I tell you what about have 4 Italian rounds? There's plenty of circuits that could hold a MotoGP. Imola could hold a MotoGP. It holds World Superbike. I'm sure it could do a MotoGP. It needs a tweak here and a tweak there. Vallelunga could do it. Misano does it. Monza could do it. I don't know why World Superbike's decided to boycott that round. Mugello has the Italian round. There's loads of circuits.
I think it was it something to do with runoff there at Monza?
Probably some irrelevant runoff, even though they've changed the chicane about 4 times since they started using it. So again, don't get that. But you could have, why do we have 2 rounds in Britain then? At Silverstone and Donington.
Right, money, that's why.
What about why don't we go Magny Cours as well as Le Mans? No other circuit, there's no other country that has as many circuits, right? But for some reason we insist on going to Spain, and the circuits, I'm not being funny, 2 of them are any good. Aragon is 2 stop-start for me, never provides an amazing race. And Valencia, let's tell me the last time an amazing race happened at Valencia. It's great for Moto3, but unfortunately, Moto2 and MotoGP also have to get around the circuit, and it's just a joke. I just do not see why we insist on going to 4 Spanish rounds. I'm fed up with it, the fans are fed up with it, people in the paddock are fed up with it.
Are they though? I don't know, to be honest. But let us know what you think. If you're tuned in live, get in touch and tell us, should there be less Spanish races, as Kiko vehemently tells us, or is there the right amount? Are you Spanish? Do you disagree? Do you know someone who is Spanish and would probably deck Kiko at the very notion or suggestion?
Can I just say, I'm not against Spanish people. I do not have anything against Spaniards.
It sounds like you just wanted to deprive them of their racing. I mean, they don't have much else.
You said that, not me. No, okay, fair enough. They don't have a lot else, but
apart from world-class football teams and anyway, moving swiftly on, because we will let us know what you think anyway, because it's Alton Park this weekend and BSB
Motorsport Radio, the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Yes, and there was a pretty hectic and crazy Grand Prix at the weekend at Silverstone, and if you missed it, 3 races. Wild. Race 1 and race 1 and race sort of 2 we're kind of okay, but race 3, only 7 finishes, Kiko.
In my time, as it's following British Superbikes, 3 races. And the last one, the third race, had 7 finishes out of 23 starters.
Unbelievable.
Now it sounds like a menu, doesn't it? Really, 23 starters and 7 desserts. That's what it was.
And no black puddings.
Well, unfortunately, there was a few fallers though. I tell you, there was a lot of fallers.
Yeah.
But quickly before we do crack on with that, all the best to Taylor Mackenzie and Andy Reid. They had a couple of big crashes. Andy Reid has broken his femur, and I think Taylor Mackenzie has broke his foot in 2 places, so we hope they get back fit and ready to race as soon as possible. But record-breaking year in British Superbikes continues. 9 race winners, 13 podium finishers, because Glenn Irwin, of course the Northwest 200 winner of 2017, took his first British Superbike win on the Saturday. On the Sunday, Josh Brooks took victory, and on the second race on Sunday, Dan Lindfoot took his first ever victory, even though he's been in the class since around 2012. Now, interestingly, Irwin and Lindfoot are not in the showdown. Josh Brooks is a massive gainer out of all of that, because he scored, I think, 7 podium points going into the showdown, whereas Shane Byrne was the only other of the top 6 that scored. Leon Haslam didn't finish a race. He didn't even start the third one. So Josh Brooks goes into Alton Park this weekend with good form. He is, I wouldn't say he's caused an upset, but he's stolen points off a lot of people, and that's good for them because he had to ride to the conditions. He did ride to the conditions. He won a race when he needed, and now he's literally in such a good place. He's third going in to the showdown. He finished the main season second. I wouldn't bet against anyone. If I was to put a fiver on someone, because I'm not putting any more than a fiver on anyone this year in British Superbikes, it'd definitely be Josh.
Well, for the whole championship.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
really?
he's rode a great year, and when others have fallen by the wayside, he's been there to pick the points up. Not only that, he's beaten people in head-to-head scraps. He hasn't done it just by people falling off. He's actually won races very, very well. So Josh has outright pace. He rides to the conditions. Okay, he had a crash in Sunday in awful weather conditions. But, he's come good at the right time. He started winning at the right time towards the end of the main season to fire himself up, set himself up for the showdown. That's exactly what he needed to do. Whereas other teams, such as Leon Haslam, had a disastrous Silverstone, so they feel the pressure now going in. Shane Byrne again, 2 crashes. He feels the pressure going in to the showdown, where it's someone like Josh Brooks and Jake Dixon, of course, is in the showdown. Brilliant for them, and him and the RAF team. So Jake as well, momentum. We could be going into Alton Park, and we could have a couple of upside down races. There's a lot of fast riders not in the showdown. Christian Eden is one of them.
Yeah,
Jason's another.
Very true. And Luke Mossey.
Another. Justice was not done there. Luke Mossey worked hard, very hard, to get back racing at Silverstone, and I feel very, very sorry for Luke Mossey.
He did fantastic to even get back, to be honest.
He did. To get back that soon when he knew he needed to have a good weekend. And do you know what? If he just stayed up, in that second race, he would have got 8 points, because that would have meant 8 finishes. And if he finished last, he would have finished with 8 points. But, that's the way it goes. And if buts and maybes don't count, so pleased for Jake Dixon. Just gutted for Luke Mossey. I really am.
Yeah, and one rider that I think we've perhaps both been keeping our eye on as well throughout most of the season, who has really come on really well, getting slowly faster and faster, picking up positions, staying on the bike in many cases when everyone was falling off, like in race 3 on Sunday. He had his 2 best results of the entire season over the weekend. Brad Ray.
Like I say, stunning. Not just that, but again, we have to stress, he knows these circuits, but he doesn't know them on a superbike. Riding a superbike is different to riding a supersport bike. And Brad Ray has come into this year and he's adapted very, very well. If I'm quite honest, he's done extremely well. And to pick up, can I just say, these 6 places, he finished in the top 10 all weekend.
Yeah, a 10th, a 6th and a 6th, I think it was.
Started on the front row for race 3. So again, he has such good pace, and he's not crashing like you say. He's keeping on the bike. He's not throwing it at the Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire scenery. He's actually doing an all right job. And for a rookie, and I stress, it was like a lake on Sunday, race 3.
Oh, yeah.
It was awful conditions. To stay on, okay, he finished 6th out of 7th, but he finished. He finished in 6th.
Well, considering that there was only, to say that he finished 6th out of 7 who finished, but consider all the people who didn't manage to stay on the bike as well. And he did.
Top class riders didn't manage the conditions. Josh Brooks didn't manage to ride in the conditions and stay on in the conditions. Josh Brooks, Shane Byrne, Leon Haslam didn't start. Mossey crashed, Iden crashed. Gintoli crashed, Bridewell crashed. He's a race winner, of course, Tommy Bridewell, not this year, but he has been in the past. There was top quality names all the way down this field who crashed out. Bradley Ray didn't crash out, stayed on the bike, rode a very sensible race, didn't push, just rode around, made sure he was there when he needed to be, and he picked up 10 points. now 14th in the championship. He's only 25 points off a top 10 place.
And that would be, that would be interesting to see what happens this weekend at Alton. What did he previously do at Alton? I'm just having a look at his last results. There wasn't. I don't think it was two. No, he didn't.
I think he crashed in race 1, retired in race 2.
Yeah, nothing.
He retired very early on in race 2.
Okay, well, he's got it, all to do, I suppose, for Alton. But yeah, now it is the showdown, like you say. We was talking briefly a little bit about O'Halloran, and he just narrowly made it into the showdown. You think he definitely won't win the overall thing?
It'd be hard to imagine it because he hasn't won a race. He's the only one of the top 6 that hasn't won a race. So he hasn't got the big podium credits. He is a little bit there. I think he's on 503, Shakey's on 532. So straight away he's over a race win behind. So that is going to be a disadvantage. However, Jason O'Halloran he went very well, got the new Honda 5-Blades first ever podium at Alton earlier this year. So a dry race, we might see Jason right up there. However, like I say, he hasn't won a race yet this year. Dan Linford, his teammate, has won a race yet this year. He won the last race 3 at Silverstone. So I think Jason, he's not out of it. I'm not saying that at all. But I wouldn't say he's the favourite. If you were to put money on people, I don't think Jason O'Halloran, he'd be around 16-1. Okay. I'm not saying.
Is that just you making up odds?
Well, might be. This is a bookmaker of Giles, and if I was to offer an expert opinion, I wouldn't necessarily put Jason O'Halloran as the favourite to win the British Superbike Championship this year. Now I've said that, he will go and prove me wrong. In next show, I will be apologising for such views.
Possibly. It's not like Kiko Alexander Giles has ever said anything that's ever sort of come back to haunt him, especially on like, I don't know, things like commentary debuts or anything.
Xavier O'Shea's got a slight gap over Evan Belford so far. Ollie Walker he's still not broken clear. This is going down to the last lap, barring Actor God. Oh, barring Actor God, what a commentator's curse that is. Ollie Walker,
commentator strikes.
Ollie Walker has dropped out of the lead.
Sorry, Kiko.
You love that clip, don't you?
I always have to keep it to hand,
watching it,
just because, but I shouldn't keep playing it as much. Sorry, Ollie, and the Walters.
I bet Karen and Ian are well happy.
It is a classic, though, you have to say.
It is.
Point being
that
not many, just, I don't know, maybe 15,000.
Oh, it's just a few then.
Yeah. But yeah, the point being that Kiko, immediately after making a prediction, is proved wrong almost every time.
What did it happen with James Anderson? I said they won't win another race this year. They won't win a race this year, and then they went and did it. Yeah,
that as well. There we go. I think O'Halloran has just been crowned.
Yes, so well done, Jason O'Halloran. You are British Superbike champion for 2017.
It'll be so funny if that actually happens, because I'll get to replay this.
I'm going to be on here dead. I will officially have an open casket for you guys to say what an idiot I am. That's after I've hung myself, because I'm such an idiot when it comes to... Why do I say that? Why did I say that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with big opinions, I suppose. No. They're all invited into the show, and you just got to make sure that your opinions match up with fact later on, which isn't the easiest thing to do. But if you have an opinion about who is going to take it, if you think O'Halloran won't definitely win it because he didn't have a brilliant, stellar main season performance, let us know. Get in touch and tell us why. If it's the same reason that Kiko said, then tell us about it, and because we want to know, basically. Chaka Anderson has been on, and a couple of Facebook live messages. Chaka, going back to the calendar that we were talking about early, MotoGP, says, hell yes, way too many Grand Prix in there. Referring to the provisional 2018 MotoGP calendar, or perhaps talking about the too many Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, I hope so.
Or maybe both. But anyway,
yes, maybe both.
Yes. So what were we talking about now? Oh yeah, BSB. We're still talking about Silverstone.
We are. Keep your comments coming in about all things, of course. Don't forget, it's not all about British Superbikes. It's not all about MotoGP.
Oh yeah, because there's the World Superbikes on as well.
There is. The World Superbikes returns to the beautiful Portimao circuit. It attracts an annual crowd of about 7 people. So that'll be a great atmosphere. Get yourselves off to Albufeira, I think the local town is, or the local.
Have you been there?
No, of course I haven't. Why would I want to go there?
I don't know. You go to weird places. I'm not.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't consider Portugal too weird, Lester.
Okay.
But no. Honestly, it'll be. I'm predicting a Jonathan Ray double. I think I'll stick my neck right out on the old train line there. That's going to be a Jonathan Ray double.
So a double retirement for Ray then.
Be a first in a long time if that happens.
Well, you've just sort of predicted he'll win, which means the opposite will happen.
Well,
I don't make the rules. And Kiko says these things, and the opposite happens. So
well, no, but it is the World Superbikes this weekend at Portimao. They returned there for the first time in 2 years. They last raced there in 2015, which actually wasn't a bad race, to be fair. It was action packed enough, but you have to start wondering now, when will Jonathan Ray win the championship? Because he's so far clear at the front. He's miles ahead. You know, I'm just actually looking up his last double DNF. The last time he didn't finish a race, or 2 races, was
last Wednesday.
No, 2 actual races.
Okay.
And we're going to be technical. We'll say Germany 2013. He broke his leg in the first race, didn't make the second, but when he's actually retired out of both races, having started them, Magny-Cours 2011. There we are. There's a fact.
So won't you feel terrible then if it happens this weekend?
There'll be a apology straight over to Ballymena. I'll tell you that now.
Also the Ball d'Or endurance thing.
South France,
something.
I think.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, it's an endurance race. We'll skirt around that one. It's not particularly events.
To be perfectly honest, the only reason I know it's on is because I was flicking through the Sky Planner and on Eurosport. I think part of it's on Eurosport. I was like, oh, is that on? Okay.
No, the Ball d'Or, again, nothing I really take a lot of notice of, but I don't follow endurance racing, so again, I wouldn't particularly know. All I know about the Ball d'Or, it's in the south of France, I think. So, I think is it at the Paul Ricard circuit? I'm not so sure. Either way, Ball d'Or's happening. It's probably the only decent thing happening in France this weekend because everyone else will be on strike. But back to World Superbikes, Jesus. Portugal makes a welcome return to the calendar, and it's a crying shame actually that circuit isn't used for more. Get a Portugal. You know when we was on about the calendar earlier, shift one of the Spanish races over the border, and into Portugal.
It's not a physical thing, you know. You don't have to just shift it over.
No, the border wouldn't be a physical thing because it's in the EU. But Estoril or Portimao, great circuits. We've been to Estoril before. I don't particularly think Estoril would be a great circuit, but Portimao, what a circuit! That's incredible. It's ridiculously fast. So get one now. I'm pretty sure the crowds will turn up. I hope they turn up this weekend.
Didn't you say that only 7 people turn up to watch the?
Yeah, that's World Superbikes, of course.
Well,
not MotoGP. So, you know, I think MotoGP would pull the crowds in. I think World Superbikes has got a slightly bigger issue than that across the board.
So they don't have any. I mean, how big is the world? I don't know what the level of bike enthusiasm is in Portugal. I genuinely have no clue.
Well, see, I'll tell you now. If you are not sure about going to Portugal on Saturday and Sunday, book your tickets now. If you're a Miguel Oliveira fan, he will be there. Miguel Oliveira, the Red Bull KTM rider in Moto2, is there this weekend. He is at Portimao. But if MotoGP went there, back to Oliveira, him racing Grand Prix, would attract loads of people, thousands of people, because they've been deprived of a Grand Prix since 2012. That was the last Grand Prix in Portugal, so I think getting one back there would be quite good and handy.
Well, one guy making the switch over to MotoGP, Van der Mark.
Yes, and am I excited about this or what? last Dutch rider to be in the Premier class? Gotta be Van der Goodberg in 2007 as a replacement or something like that. He was definitely the last full-time rider in 2003, I believe, or 2. So, brilliant for him, Michael van der Mark. Brilliant for Yamaha. Shows good image, bringing over the World Superbike frontrunners into Grand Prix, giving them a chance. Great for the Netherlands, because they need top-class riders in the Premier class. Both Benchard's obviously coming through, but we need a few more. And I think Michael van der Mark will not be slack this weekend. I think he could make top 12 in qualifying, and I do believe he could have a solid race. I think he'll score points.
Yeah, I mean, he could well do, but I mean, it's obvious it's not their first choice, obviously.
True.
He's just
Can I just draw your attention, though? He had 2 fifths at the World Superbike round in Aragon.
Okay.
So, beat his teammate in one of them, finished one place behind his teammate, who is Alex Lowe's, in the first place. But Van der Mark, I believe he could be a little bit of an upset. Not up the front,
but he won't do. He won't show himself off.
He won't be Rossi pace. He won't. Well, he might be this year compared to last year, but he won't be top 5. I don't think. I think he could have a very solid run. I'll say top 10.
Okay. And what do you think? If you're tuned in, listening live to the Superbike show here on Motorsport Radio, tell us what you think. How well will Van der Mark go in MotoGP?
I think he will go well, and I think it's good for the Dutch fans.
Very passionate.
Massive turnout at Assen, year in, year out.
Oh, yeah.
Whether they're for Rossi or not, they love motorcycle racing. And I think having a Dutch, they'll definitely do big for TV audiences out there. Definitely. It seems to be Van der Mark has proven that he can ride any bike he gets on very, very well. At the time, it was a 6-year-old CBR 1000 blade. It's Superbike. Stayed on it for another year. He's moved over to Yamaha this year, and he's 7th in the championship, but he's had 4th. He hasn't had a podium. He's only retired out of 2 races. So he definitely has pace. So it's just about keeping it going. He's led the World Superbike races as well. He's led one in Misano until his tyre went and he fell off with about 3 laps to go or whatever. So Michael van der Mark, I'm telling you, could be a little bit of a spoiler. He might just take some points off people. Of course, though, we need to emphasise, and I can tell you this because at the Misano round, Valentino Rossi spoke to Italian TV, and he wanted to come back for Aragon. Now, Liam Jarvis has not ruled that out. He said it is almost impossible. That's not saying it's completely impossible. So, as a journalist, I've taken a very, very narrow line on that. I've taken a very narrow view. It might not be Michael van der Mark on Valentino Rossi's bike. It may well be Valentino Rossi. But that would be a remarkable comeback. It would be amazing if he's back for Japan. In all honesty, it's only 42 days.
Yeah. I mean, would it be worth it if he, to have him come back, maybe not at, or if he comes back early, then do you know what I mean? It's better for him to kind of stay away for a bit and then maybe go into the winter. I mean, if I was him and I'm lazy, so I'm not him, I'd probably just say, well, I might, come back for the last race or something, put in a bit of a show or something like that. But yeah, the season's kind of written off now for him, sort of thing. Now, isn't it?
But then again, Valentino Rossi, I'm looking at it now, is only 42 points back of Marquez. He was only 38 points behind Marquez, leaving, or 34 points back, or something. He was around the 30 points mark after Mazzano last year. Okay, obviously he didn't win last year, but it is not mathematically over. Realistically, yes, it is. But there could be equally. If Valentino Rossi can break a leg, so can Marc Marquez, so can Andrea Dovizioso, so can Maverick Vinales. So, at the end of the day, it's not all over. It's not all done and dusted just yet for Valentino Rossi. The result in Misano would have maybe, if he rode around and got 4 points, it would look a bit better. He'd be closer to Maverick Vinales, but it wouldn't have made a load of difference, really. I think that Valentino will be back for Japan. I cannot see how he'd be riding around at Aragon. It'd be so difficult. Interesting point, though. If Valentino Rossi did ride at Misano, I'm fairly sure he would have picked up points because Johann Zarco ran out of fuel towards the line. Cal Crutchlow crashed out. Danny Pedrosa had issues. Loris Baz crashed twice, and Carol Abraham crashed. So there might have been some points on offer for Valentino if he stayed up. Problem is, if he crashed, he definitely would have been out for the year. But
yeah, there's always that risk.
It was never going to happen.
Yeah. Well, we will get to the actual MotoGP results shortly, if you don't know, and I'm presuming that you already do, so that's not the world's biggest priority. But yeah, I don't know how we drifted on from Rossi exactly, because we were still talking about the Van der Mark, and before that, I think we were still talking about the showdown.
It's stuff, conversation, Lester. It's just conversation.
Yeah, I know, but I like structure, and we've made a structure, and we talk about this then, and then we move on to them.
The Bangladeshi way. We just go along as we please.
Okay. Anyway, we've had a comment flood in on the Facebook live chat.
You must feel very, very boring tonight if you're playing all right. The Educating Manchester.
Thank you.
Is a thing. Is on Channel 4.
But right.
But of course, this is better.
Anyway, so Niku Raducanu has been on. Hi, okay. Sorry for.
What's his name?
Niku.
Okay.
No, I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. But anyway, he thinks that Van der Mark could get in the top 10, but he thinks he's not been in the best of form of late. And also asks as well, how come World Superbikes is dominated by British riders, and in MotoGP there's only Crutchlow and McPhee in Moto3?
Well, I wouldn't even go that far with McPhee at the moment. He has been struggling, crashed at Misano, 13th in Silverstone, hasn't done a lot since the first 3 rounds of the year. Funny that, because I spoke to him after the first 3 rounds of the year. So, again, I'm not bad luck or anything. I don't know why World Superbikes has gone that way. I just don't. Jonathan Ray and Tom Sykes are obviously on a lot of money. Chaz Davies has got a point to prove. He wants to become a champion on the Ducati. Alex Lowe's is at Yamaha. He's at the Crescent team. He stayed with the Crescent team since he's been in World Superbikes. Leon Camier is on a lot of money to ride an uncompetitive MV Augusta. There is a lot of reasons, I think, and sadly, even as a Brit, it's got boring to watch.
Ah,
it really has at the moment. It seems just British riders dominate.
Oh,
you know, and people say, "That's not very patriotic." Well, it's just, you know, the problem is that I wouldn't have a problem with Brits winning every race if it was a fight for it every race, or it was close to every race. But it's won by turn 1. You know, that's the problem with World Superbikes. But I don't know. Leon Camier had a chance in MotoGP, and unfortunately, for some crazy reason, it wasn't kept by a team. I cannot believe that a team didn't employ Leon Camier. Might have been for financial reason. I won't speculate. Alex Lowe's, I think, will get in Grand Prix very soon. But I don't think Jonathan Ray will get there, and I don't think Tom Sykes will, and I don't think Chaz Davies will, because they're on the wrong side of 25. You know, it's madness to think that you have to be under 25 to really succeed in Grand Prix, but that's just the way it is with Marquez coming in at such a young age. You know, to become a record breaker, that's what you got to do. And I just don't think that the world. I don't think they'd struggle. I don't think they'd be at the back of the grid. But I don't think they'd be outstanding. I don't think they'd be really near Cal Crutchlow. So I just think they're quite happy where they are in World Superbikes. Therefore, we have the Brits in World Superbikes continuing.
Well, if that doesn't answer your question, then yeah, that. And apparently I did pronounce his name correctly. I get a congrats for that. So yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. We were. I wanted to talk about as well. Also, might as well talk about the actual result from Sunday, since we're talking about MotoGP. If you don't know, that Marc Marquez won the Rimming Ring Grand Prix. Well, then he did. By
The what?
the Kiko Giles.
Hey, this is in Italy, this one. He was in Misano.
Yeah.
I know what you're on about here.
That's what
You're
I
on
said.
party, you are?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll go for Moto 3 first, I think.
Yeah. Moto 3 is race...
There was more crashes than finishers. That's how mental that race was. Fanati won by 28 seconds. An incredible amount. From Joan Mir, so the top protagonist in that championship, didn't make a mistake. Fabio Di Gianantonio was third, and great. 2 Italians on the podium. Philip Ertel was fourth. Nicolo Bulliger was fifth. Bulliger made it 3 Italians in the top 5. Bo Benschneider, Jakob Kornfeil. Kornfeil, I believe, crashed. So unbelievable how he got back up there. Alberto Arenas, Andrea Migno, and Juan Masia were top 10. Manuel Pagliani, Marcos Ramirez, Alex Fabri, the wild card, the San Marinese rider, and Nea Bastianini crashed twice, and Lorenzo Dalla Porta were your points finishers and your only finishers. That was it. 15 finishes in Moto 3.
Boom. Yeah, and quite a massive gap between first and second, Fanati and Mir. Nearly 30 seconds. Well, about 28 and a half seconds, to be precise.
Well, it wasn't much better in Moto 2 as far as finishes was concerned. There was only 16. So that's how bad the conditions was. And I can tell you, from the grandstand, there was a lot of crashes, a lot of runoffs. There was a lot of front enders in the grandstand itself with all the mud. But in the banking itself. But interesting stuff in Moto 2. Record-breaking Moto 2 race. The first time in all of Grand Prix history, in every race that has happened since 1949, in any class, past or present, there has never been a Swiss rider 1 and 2. There has now, because Dominique Agutter beat Tom Luthi in that race, first and second for Switzerland. It has never happened before. In 67, 68 years of racing, it's never happened. That is an incredible achievement. So Agutter, Luthi and Shirin, first ever Malaysian Moto 2 podium that actually was decided through politics at the end of a race. So Shirin took his second ever podium. Pecco Bagnaia, I thought he crashed, but it must have been Stefano Manzi who crashed out. So it was, yeah, that's what it's saying, Stefano Manzi. So Bagnaia was fourth, fifth place for Brad Binder, South Africa in the top 5. Again, great stuff from them. Sandro Cortese was sixth, Quattararo seventh, eighth for Simone Corsi, who crashed, I must say, on the run out of turn 15 to turn 16. And how he got his bike started again, I have not a clue. The bike must have gone about 50 metres on its side. Somehow it carried on. Simone Corsi 8th, Caroline Dampari 9th, so 2 Malaysians in the top 10. First time that has ever happened. 10th, Jessica Raffin. 3 Swiss riders in the top 10. I think that's the second time that's ever happened. 11th for Takagi Nakagami. 12th for Alex De Angelis on his return. His home race, of course, the San Marinese rider in the San Marino Grand Prix. 13th was Remy Gardner. 14th Tetsuta Nagashima, who hasn't crashed out of a race yet, I don't believe. I think he's finished every race. Xavi Fierre, he crashed early on but got back on, scored a point in 15th but was a lap down. Federico Fellini was the wild card for the Ford Racing team, but he was in the junior side of things. He was 16th and last. No points for him. Big names crashed out, though, including Series leader Franco Morbidelli. He crashed down into turn 6, which is the Quercia corner, which puzzled me because I don't understand why he went off so quickly like he did. I'm sure that'll be explained. He wasn't the only Italian, though. Like we say, Manzi, Locatelli, Matteo Pacini went down on the start of the second lap, followed by Lorenzo Baldassari, 2 of the main local men. Other crashes, Taron McKenzie, Ed Capons, Jorge Navarro's crash was massive, coming through the fast Carbone right-hander, the first of the fast right-handers towards the end of the lap. Isaac Vinales went down, Augusto Fernandez went down, Xavier Simeon, we'll get onto him a little bit later. Miguel Oliveira went down quite quickly at turn 15. Equal Lecuona went down early doors. Andrea Locatelli, Joe Roberts and Stefano Manzi, as we said. There was a lot of crashes in Moto2. Amazing how 16 all finished. And some of them crashed as well that finished.
Well, yeah, that's...
action-packed.
And action-packed is probably accurate to say, Kiko. So, yes. And also the, Moto GP race. It was... you were watching. You were there. Tell us from your point of view then exactly how it went down if we didn't see it.
Yeah, well, Danilo Petrucci led on to the last lap and didn't end coming to the line on the actual last lap because Marc Marquez had stalked him for about 6 or 7 laps. A machine. Marc Marquez worked his way past Andrea Dovizioso up to the rear end of Petrucci, followed him until the last lap, and he mugged him down into the first turn. So Marquez deprived Italy of what would have been one of the most popular wins all weekend. Marquez, Petrucci, Dovizioso was your top 3. Marquez and Dovizioso now level on points going into Aragon, a place where Ducati haven't had a podium since 2010, and a place where Dovizioso hasn't had a podium since 2011, whereas Marquez, I believe he won there last year. I'm fairly sure in saying that. Marc Marquez walked off with it last year, so we'll be interested in Aragon. But Misano, the race. Marquez, Petrucci, Dovi was your podium. Vinales, the sole factory Yamaha 4th, and Ducati's test rider, Michele Pirro, made it 3 Ducatis in the top 5. He was 5th. 6th place for Jack Miller, great result from him. And thank you very much for the 4 friendly drinks I had in the Australia Galicia Mark VDS hospitality unit after the race. Scott Reddin 7th. Alex Rins was the only Suzuki that finished in 8th. Iannone pulled in with reported arm pump. 9th, Jonas Folger. 10th for Bradley Smith, his first top 10 all year. Hey. Teammate Paul Espargaro was 11th. KTM took their biggest points haul all year. 12th for Alvaro Bautista, he crashed early doors. Cal Crutchlow crashed early doors. Danny Pedrosa had problems, I think he may have crashed as well. 15th for Gian Zarco, was actually 8th going into the final 2 corners. He ran out of fuel with 2 corners to go.
How can that happen?
Unbelievable. He was weaving the bike side to side trying to get some fuel in the lines, wasn't having it. He pushed it home in the end, got 1 point for his efforts. So Johan Zarco, well done. Rider of the day, I think. Loris Baz would have had a good race. He crashed out of 5th, I think. He crashed out of 5th and then crashed again. So he was 16th. And Carol Abraham crashed very early on. I think it turned 3. It was out of my view. So he was only 17th. Non-finishers, though. Jorge Lorenzo crashed out of the lead. He could have... I had a €5 bet with someone I met in a bar in Cattolica that Jorge Lorenzo would not win, and he almost proved me wrong. But unfortunately, he was the first retiree. Hector Barbara also crashed out. Alicia Spargo crashed first, followed by his teammate Sam Lowes a couple of laps later. Samu was in 10th at the time. And it's on the postcard why that happened. Happy birthday, Sam, by the way. It's him and his brother's birthday today, Sam and Alex.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Andrea Iannone pulled in with arm pump because apparently his leathers were too tight, or the overcoat was too tight, the raincoat. And Tito Rabat didn't finish either 9 laps from the end. But Tito Rabat, that did not matter because he has got a new deal for 2018. He will ride the vintage Ducati, replacing Loris Baz there. That means there is no Loris Baz or Hector Barbara, I believe. I think one of them may well be on their way out, but neither are signed just yet. The rumour is, we said we'd get onto it later, that Xavier Simeon is bringing some big money in, and he's going to be riding. So Hector Barbara and Loris Baz may well be out of a job come the end of this year in the Grand Prix paddock.
Boom, you heard it here first. Kiko Alexander-Giles breaking all the big news unofficially.
Yeah. Can I just remind you, that is a rumour that Xavier Simeon will be on the Avinci next year. It is not confirmed.
Yeah, usually when journos say it's a rumour, It's because they've heard it
Yeah,
at the
but
time.
I'm saying it's a rumour. I'm not a journalist. I just talk.
I'm not a journalist. I just go around to all the racetracks reporting and things. But anyway, so there you go. You kind of heard it here first, sort of thing. And if it happens, it'll just be a coincidence.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's just speculation. Pure speculation. I haven't been told that by anyone. But no, Xavier Simeon, when was the last Belgian rider in a Grand Prix field full-time? Gotta be Didier de Radiguez in 1991.
Oh, yeah.
On a Lucky Strike Suzuki. It's gotta be.
Okay.
I can't think of one between now and then. Obviously, Livio Loy's been in the Moto3s for some time, but I can't remember the last Belgian rider in the Grand Prix full-time.
Yeah, I wanted to have a... I wanted to mention about the big crash that happened at the weekend, and it's just was it Loy who was? I think he was involved in it.
When he was thrown over the moon and back.
Yeah, the
Did
thing.
you just dab?
Did I see it?
No, did you just dab?
No, I didn't. I just.
Oh right, okay. I was going to say. I think I had an heart attack. It was Gabriel Rodrigo who crashed coming out the last corner, and Livio Loy hit the bike straight on, and suddenly went boom straight up over it, and the bike.
Did he hit the actual bike, or did he go over him? Because it looked.
No.
scary.
He went over the bike because Rodrigo had kind of parted company off to the right. Loy hit the bike. And Loy was actually hit by his own bike and was falling down as well. I think that's a good thing, though, because it cushioned the blow. Loy would have been a very sore Belgian lad had he hit the ground without hitting something else first. So whilst a collarbone, I think he dislocated or fractured, I didn't catch up with him when I was there. But I think Livio's a lucky lad. Whether or not he'll be at Aragon or not, I'm not so sure. But a huge crash. That was on Saturday.
Yeah, that was reminds me of a car race from last year, maybe 2 years ago, at Silverstone. You might have seen it. It was quite a famous one. It went viral. Luckily, everyone was okay, but it was in a Formula Renault 2.0 race at Silverstone, and the car hit the back of a British driver and launched so high up into the air. I mean, it was probably like... Yeah, it was super, super high.
I saw something very similar. Was it in a Formula Renault race last year?
That's literally what I just said.
No, at the Red Bull Ring.
I don't know.
In the open wheel stuff.
Yeah.
Basically,
maybe.
10 Formula 1 cars.
I don't
One
know.
of them spun.
Oh, no, yeah. No, that was Formula 3, and it was at the Red Bull Ring, and a similar sort of thing happened, but this lad, I think it might have been Ferdinand Habsburg, I think. I forget who it was. But he went extremely high. He basically used the back of the car to just, like Loy did, over the back of the thing, and used it as a ramp. And he shot up in the air. And, yeah.
It was worrying watching it from the stands, to be fair, because obviously, believe it or not, when you're trackside, you have not as much information as you do when you're watching at home, because you have the commentary team at home who so BT Sport for me, they have their reporters down in pit lane, so it all funnels its way back through and enters the British audience. Trackside, you were left to speculate what happened. You know, it was quite a worrying crash to see, actually.
Yeah, it's well, he was back up and sort of tweeting later that evening, which was good to see from Loy. And
Gabriel Rodrigo did send an apology over, but there's nothing he could have done about that.
It happens, you know.
It does. It does happen. Shall we do a rundown of the Moto3 top 10?
What, the championship?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any fancy music or anything, just
No.
take it away.
Joan Mir is your championship leader. He's 59 points ahead of Romano Fenati, who jumped over Aaron Gannett this weekend. He's third. The walking wounded Jorge Martin, he crashed down at turn 1 this weekend. He's fourth. Fabio Di Gianantonio, his teammate, jumps up to fifth and is just 4 points behind him. Now, them five are the only ones that have scored over 100 points. Andrea Migno, sixth. John McPhee somehow is still in seventh. It shows how inconsistent the rest of them have been. Eighth for Marcos Ramirez, ninth for Enea Bastianini, and 10th for Philip Ertl. That is your top 10. There are 7 Hondas in there. 7 Hondas, 3 KTMs. So Honda looking like the bike to be on in Moto3.
Okay, good stuff. And Moto 2 and Moto GP?
Moto 2, Franco Morbidelli, even though he chucked it up the street on race day, is still in the lead, but only by 9 points. Tom Luthi has really savaged that lead. Alex Marquez didn't start. He's got, or had, internal bleeding after a huge high side on Friday in practice. So that was him out. Not sure whether it'll be at Aragon. It would be his home race, of course, at Aragon. So Morbidelli, Luthi, Marquez, Oliveira crashed, Bagnaia 5th. Brilliant season for Paco Bagnaia. Rookie in the class. That is a top quality job. Taka Nakagami is 6th. Mattia Passini slips to 7th after not finishing. And we'll do it like we did in Moto 3. It's only then 7 that have scored over 100 points. After that, it's Domi Agita. First win since 2014 for Agita. 9th for Simone Corsi and 10th for Malaysian rider Hafiz Shirin. In Moto GP, though, it's all level. It's a level playing field at the top. Marquez and Dovi are ahead. Marquez leads Dovi courtesy of, I think it's actually latest wins when it comes back to, or latest best result when it comes back to a level playing field, and once countback has been done. So it's Marquez, Dovi, Vinales is 3rd, Valentino Rossi absent 4th, 5th for Dani Pedrosa, 6th for Johan Zarco. They are the only 6 that have scored over 100 points thus far. Danilo Petrucci took another podium this year. That's his 3rd of the year. He's 7th, ahead of Britain's Cal Crutchlow, who's on 92 points. In 8th, Jorge Lorenzo's crash in the race cost him a lot of points and a chance to move ahead of Cal. He remains 9th. Jonas Folger on the 2nd of the Tech 3s is 10th.
Fantastic. I feel like I should get some sort of fancy music to do that little feature. Maybe we will do for future editions.
But in your comments where we can improve.
Don't
get rid of the presenters because
don't invite people to critique the show. It only ends up in many tubs of ice cream being consumed. But anyway, so yes, thank you for the rundown for the latest standings, Kiko. And yes, we are live. This is Moto, the Superbike show, nothing else, on Motorsport Radio. That's what I was getting confused.
There we are. We got there in the end.
Motorsport Radio. Right, dude. Motorsport Radio. This is the Superbike show. My name is Lester. Kiko Alexander Giles is here to help and talk about bikes. Basically,
all things two-wheeled.
All things 2 wheels, occasionally 3 wheels, never 4 wheels. Boom.
Well, so you brought up some irrelevant Renault Clio thing.
It was, never mind.
Well, it wasn't.
So yes, and to prove we are live, incidentally, you can get in touch with us and use the comments box on any of the places where we're streaming and tell us and get involved in the discussion. Don't just take Kiko's word for it. He's often wrong. We want to know what you think as well. So let us know. It's at M-Sport Radio on Twitter. It's Motorsport Radio on Facebook. Or, as I said, you can just chip in with your comments. And do join the website, motorsport.radio as well. Yes, it's a lovely, small but fast-growing kind of social network.
Hive of activity. That's what I like to say it is.
I wouldn't call it a hive as such. It's
your Motorsport Radio little bumblebee, Lester.
Thank you.
Anyway,
yes.
It was about Misano.
Well, yes, I wanted to know, Kiko, in particular, what are because you. For those who don't know, Kiko was there at the weekend, and he got up to a lot of stuff, and you may hear him name dropping even more because he met a few people as he usually does. But overall, I mean, I've never been to Misano, never been there, don't know what it's about, wouldn't know what goes on. So tell us then. I mean, what are the best things to do at that track and in the sort of, I'm guessing, the village or the city? Or see, I don't even know where it is, to be perfectly honest with you.
Misano is kind of it's in the centre of the coast of the east coast of Italy. It's if you know where Bologna is, It's just a bit south of Bologna. So it's very easy to get to. I will run down a few things, though, that you should do. Set off on a Monday, have a couple of nights in Bologna.
Monday?
Yeah. Have a couple of nights in Bologna, go to Asinelli Tower, 90 metres high. You can see all of Bologna over it. It's amazing, 360-degree views. Trackside, or near Misano, stay in Cattolica, best town to stay in. It is, if you're a Rossi fan, it is mental. Literally, it's more mental than I am. Now that is going somewhere. Stay in Cattolica, it is madness, and it's very, very close to the circuit. If you want to walk to the track, you actually can. It's only about 3 kilometres, which in actual, real, relevant mileage is what? 2 miles, if that? So, again, brilliant. Go there, stay there, enjoy it. It's on the beach, got pools in most hotels. It's the Hotel Romagna. That's the advertising done. What could I recommend you do? Coriano is a couple of buses away. If you are going from Cattolica, you want to get on the 125. It's not a bike, it is a bus. Get on the 125. You pay on the bus. It's only €2 or €3 return. Bargains.
Okay.
Get off in Riccione, another little town, which again is a bit popular. Jump over. You've got to check the times there, because the actual buses to Coriano run a little bit, whenever every couple of hours. Get on the number 58, named after the Marco Simoncelli number. Get on it to Coriano, get off in Coriano, and go to Marco Simoncelli's museum. Fantastic. Very emotional. Hundreds of fans there on the Monday after the race.
Yeah, you got you got a bit of video of you there with a massive line coming out of there.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there. There was a lot of people at the museum willing to, I think, pay their respects to Marco and also see what Marco Simoncelli was about, because a lot of people will only remember Marco for his MotoGP exploits, because he became very, very famous there. However, there was more to Marco than that. There was the big gangly hair, the curly hair, the massive figure he had as well. He's huge. He was massively popular in the paddock. And he's missed. He really is missed. There's a lovely little shop there. There's got the Marco Simoncelli flame there. The monument that says something in Italian. I think it's about try and enjoy yourself as much as you can. It's something like that. And then you've got the church, of which he had his service in, which is literally on the hill across the road. It's a very surreal experience, and it's not tearful, I would say. There was a lot of people in tears, but it's moving.
Somber.
It's when you go to Misano, especially on a Grand Prix weekend, you will realise that there is so much support for Marco Simoncelli, especially in Cattolica, because he was born there. There is so much support for him that it's almost like he's racing in the Grand Prix. All these hordes of fans going to watch Marco Simoncelli. It would make sense with all the T-shirts, all the caps, all the coats, trousers. They've even got trainers for Marco Simoncelli. He is idolised in that part of the world. He's a god, and it is really weird that he wasn't racing. Like I say, I kind of expected him to be there. For some reason, I cannot... you don't get it unless you go. That's all I can say. Go to Coriano. Very surreal experience indeed. Can't really put it into words, but you have to go to see it. And just the amount of people who were there, it's like, wow, did he have this many fans? Was he that much? Was he that loved? You can write a little message in the book when you pay as well. It's only €8 to go in the museum. It's the best €8 you will ever spend in your life. So go to the Marco Simoncelli Museum. It's about half an hour to an hour away from Misano.
Can't really imagine anything sort of like that over here, could you? I mean, it's...
No. I mean, I'd love to see a Barry Sheen museum, and I think a lot of people would. Barry Sheen and James Hunt would be a very popular one, I think. But, we're talking like a little town, a village almost. It's a sleepy village in the hills of Italy, straddled by the Adriatic Sea on one side and by mountains on the other. You can see San Marino in the distance. It is incredible. It really is just this little town. There's a nice little place you can eat. There's a couple of places you can actually do very nice hot
you
chocolates in the cafe at the back of the museum. It's actually just 100% chocolate melted.
Oh, really? Like just literal chocolate, not
even powder. It is literally melted chocolate in
so
a
is
cup.
they thick and everything?
Oh, thick. It was thicker than me. That's how thick it was. It was going some.
Okay.
But I can honestly say, go up there. You can spend a whole day there. I spent around 4 or 5 hours up there. And after you've done it all, you sit down on the bench and you look at just the people come and go. People go in the museum, come out. Some of them crying, some of them just buying things. Some people walking past. There's a house actually in the village that has a massive picture of Marco Simoncelli's face, like an actual photo, enlarged, and it's just on this wall. He's very popular around that part of the world. So if you're ever up that way, even if you're not going for the weekend, for a MotoGP weekend, go to Coriano. It's a very, very moving experience. But it's a good one. Yeah, it's at least like you have to do it. Okay,
I'll definitely bear that in mind if I ever go to.
There are more things.
Oh yeah. Oh, go on. What?
Yeah. There's loads of things you can do. Tavulia. Oh. If you're a Valentino Rossi fan, you cannot claim to be a Valentino Rossi fan unless you've gone to Tavulia. Because it is yellow. I think we have a feature planned, Leicester, very shortly. I want to do a feature on Tavulia. I have the footage. Thunderstorm when I went, but I was queuing for over an hour to get into his restaurant. He is a god in that part of the world.
What, his actual... He doesn't cook, though, does he?
No, of course not. Not with a broken leg, anyway.
No.
But...
wouldn't surprise me.
He basically owns the village. It is Valentino Rossi Central. He owns the shop, he owns the cafe, he owns the pizzeria. He's got his merchandise store, the VR46 store, the big banner on the wall. He's got flags. When I went to Lebanon and I explained what Lebanon was like, and they all have their big party flags on like the lamppost. It's like that, just with 46s and yellows.
Yeah, I won't talk about the flags that you saw on one of your recent holidays, though, to be honest.
What the Hezbollah and the Islamic State flags? Oh, no, they were scrubbed down that one. Valentino Rossi flags, the number 46, it's everywhere, not even in Tavulia. When you go to Cattolica, there's a whole shop dedicated to Marco Simoncelli and Valentino Rossi. In fact, they even shut the shop when I was walking past, because they were showing Valentino Rossi versus Jorge Lorenzo in Catalonia 2009. They didn't allow anyone in the shop because there must have been about 250 people just stood around this little telly watching it. It is Valentino Rossi mad in that part of the world. It's crazy. Go. It's very reasonably priced. They have special pizzas in the Valentino Rossi pizzeria.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
La Pisano is one of them, and La Rossi is another. I had the normal, straightforward margarita, €5. Couldn't go wrong. Not too expensive.
I am keen to. You should put like a book together of the best eateries of MotoGP calendars or BSB venues and stuff. The best places to eat. I think I would trust you to do that probably. The
British Superbike's gastronomic delights.
The Black Pudding Tour of Britain.
Oh, you have it, Leicester. Well, it wouldn't be Britain though, because we do go to Assen. So, we have to work around that one. But there's more.
Oh, really?
Don't just listen to what I say next to Misano. Get on a train, go first class, because, here's a little story. If you want to know how to get around Italy, don't fly, walk if you want, that's a lot cheaper, be a bit tiring though. Train from Cattolica to Bologna, it's between, depending on how many stops there is, an hour and 10 minutes or 2 hours. For that, let me tell you, you can get first class, €20 one way, €36 two ways, return. You get your own little cabin, you get food, shower, toilet, sink.
Why would you need a shower on a 1 hour trip?
No, because obviously it goes I think there's a place called Ancona, which is a little bit south, and then it goes all the way up to Milan. So that's about 4 hours, I guess. It's incredible. €20. Where have we gone so wrong in the UK? And the ticket is like a plane ticket. I don't actually have one on me now. That's a bus ticket. That is a bus ticket. Look at that thick card. How much? €2? You see that? €2 there, look.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, he's holding up a bus ticket.
No, honestly, they don't do things by halves in Italy. So get on the train, go to Bologna. Get off at Bologna, get the number 13 to Borgo Panigale, walk around 100 metres up to the factory of Ducati. Now, I am not really friendly with the people in Ducati, and I will tell you why after. But the museum is, I think, 20... If you go for the full factory tour and the museum, it's €30. You get to look at all the old world superbikes, a few MotoGP bikes, the original Ducatis. They were actually an electronics company. They did an amazing journey from Caracas, which is the capital of Venezuela, all the way over to Sydney. I will write a report on this. Keep your eyes out. And they went through cities like Rio de Janeiro, Casablanca, Tehran. They went all over the world on these two really old Ducatis. It's in the museum. Go and have a look. The museum is brilliant. You get the factory tour as well. It is a really good day out. You get a discount in the shop, which is about, I don't know, half a mile away. You can walk it. It's across a busy road, so don't get run over. But I got in trouble because when I
God, what did you do?
on the way out of the museum, one of the doors going into like a corridor was open. And I thought, I'll have a wander. And I didn't look because it didn't say don't go. It didn't say like not for public access.
It said it in Italian though.
Well, I don't read Italian, so they should have thought about it.
That's no excuse.
So anyway, I'm walking along, and there's a Chaz Davies photo on my right, followed by a Leandro Mercado one from 3 years ago, and then there's Casey Stoner's 2008 Ducati on my left, and there's another one up in the distance. I think it may have been a foggy bike in the distance. So I'm walking along. I think his offices. I just think his offices, and they're just decorated. And this bloke came up to me and escorted me out of the museum because I shouldn't have been seeing what I was seeing. So unfortunately, I did get a few photos though. So
you saw something that you shouldn't, considering it was it the actual factory or like more of the museum side of?
Well, I thought it was more museum. Hence why I went through, because all the little photos had like a caption on them. They had like a little description of when it was taken, where the bloke finished, what circuit it was at.
So you saw? Am I right in guessing that you saw like the development of wings for next year?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
Because the wings have been banned.
Well,
but I saw stuff that maybe other people haven't seen. So
what did you see then?
I've just told you the photos and Casey Stoner's 2008 Ducati.
Yeah, but what was on the photos?
Just two riders.
Yeah, but what did you see about the bikes that you shouldn't have seen?
Well, one of them had a fairing off, so I don't know, just the internal bit of the actual bike, I suppose. I don't know, I'm not a technical journalist, so someone like Neil Spaulding would have had a field day looking at that. But no, it was, they weren't happy with me. They asked me to leave the museum. So
yeah, the fact that Kiko got kicked out of anywhere is not a surprise.
Leave.
Asked to leave, kicked out, shown the door, given the heave-ho. Is just a typical
Hopefully
day.
they won't recognise me next time I go to looking. You all, people of Lancashire, now this is a direct message to you. You will love going to Italy, especially that museum, because on the side of it, Carl Fogarty and Neil Hodgson are both on there. So Blackburn and Burnley's finest in that order are right on there. So go and check it out.
Very good. And yeah, did they have a cafe as well?
They had a cafe. It was shut though, so I can actually go in and trial the cuisine of Ducati.
So maybe you were looking for the cafe, seeing for some food, and
that's exactly what it was.
And you wandered into the boss's office to look at the blueprints for a 2018 bike or something, and accidentally took pictures of it, thinking it was like, I don't know, a Yorkshire pudding or something.
Italy. I'll tell you what, if I did see Yorkshire pudding in Italy, I would get my phone out and take a picture of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. Is that the entire list, the itinerary of what to do?
No, you could do a lot more. If you were going to Bologna as a general tourist, Astonelli Tower, 90 metres high, the original wooden steps are there. You go up, it's 360-degree views of Bologna, incredible. Go on my Twitter, you will see go on Instagram or just type in Astonelli Tower on Google to save you doing all that rubbish on Twitter and Instagram, and you will find some amazing photos of Bologna. They are truly incredible. So go there. But no, there is quite a few things you can do. There's a few little towns you can wander off to. Misano Adriatico when you're in Cattolica. Riccione is very nice. Ravenna is not far away.
If, let's say, I'm guessing most people don't have an entire week to spend sightseeing in Italy in various parts. So if you were just there for like an extended weekend to watch a Grand Prix, plus maybe you had a day, what would be the biggest thing or things you would recommend to do?
Cervulio on the Thursday, Coriano on the Monday, and just little town excursions in between.
Okay, and the best food?
If you're not leaving till... I'm guessing you will go through Bologna Airport. Therefore, you will be in Bologna at some point. Go to the Ducati Museum. Go to Astonelli Tower. You can squeeze it all in 5 days. Because I had about 8 days, I took my time in doing it all. Food-wise, the Pavaglione restaurant, which is at the bottom of the Amadeus Hotel, which is where I stayed in Borgo Panigale, Bologna. Go there, very nice food, very cheap food, beautiful carbonara. Asked for the carbonara. Bologna's twist of things is very nice. The spag bowl there is nice, spaghetti bolognese. Not what we think is bolognese, of course.
It's actually just bolognese, though, isn't
They
it?
actually called it a ragu.
Yeah, ragu, that was it, yeah, because
it.
it's only British bolognese.
Do you know what a spaghetti bolognese is, though?
It's just tomatoes and beef.
No, it has sausages in it.
Okay. Well, sausage, whatever.
Yeah, so there you are. And then if you want to go, there's a place called the Bottega in central Bologna. That's very nice. If you want very, very good food...
Expensive.
No. Racket Bar in Cattolica. It's in the little crossroads at the top of town. Go there. I ordered, and this is how bad I was when I was there. I had a large Bacardi and Coke, large Malibu and lemonade. I had 2 pints of Amstel, 2 pints of Heineken, a 14-inch thin-base margherita pizza, and a spaghetti carbonara, all in the same night, less than €20. People say Italy is expensive. I struggled to spend money when I was there.
Well, all that beer for less than €20? I don't...
I swear to God. Go to Racket Bar.
All of that beer plus a pizza for less than 20? No way.
And the carbonara.
No way. I don't believe it.
It was €18. Go and have a look.
Maybe they got the order wrong. I don't know.
Incredible prices. There was another bar, which I can't remember the name of, which does Bacardi and Cokes for €2. Vodka and Cokes for €1. It's just drinking capital. I was in a bar called Frankie's Bar, met some very nice people. Shout out to Beth Etherington and Brian Etherington out there, and John and Susan. I spent many a night with them. I don't know if Beth's actually watching. She may well be. Some very nice, a lot of time, very nice people. In a bar called Frankie's, owned by a guy called Stefano. Very nice staff, open till 1. So again, it's not too far from the centre of town. Very, very lots of people walking past. Not very, very busy, but busy enough. Ticks over. Very, very nice food. Very, very good drinks at very, very reasonable prices. So Frankie's is another. You can go to the Valentino Rossi Fan Club restaurant, which I saw MCN's Simon Patterson in on the Thursday, I think, or Wednesday night it may have been.
Imagine that's pretty expensive.
No, again, I had a large Bacardi and Coke for €5. So, let me just explain something. Large Bacardi Coke, I mean by double. For some reason, people don't understand me when I say large. It's double, because it's larger than a singular. But, anyway, nice in there. €6 for a pizza, only €8 for a spaghetti carbonara. So, you're doing all right. About €3 for a pint, if that, about €2.50.
You ate a lot of pasta, didn't you?
Well, do you know what? I ate so much pasta, I almost passed out.
No.
Past there.
Terrible.
Past there, as people in Notts would say.
So there we go. Yeah,
That's of Italy done.
Kiko's tour of Italy. Where's next for you? The tour.
Little asterisk. Can I just say, don't fly KLM if you don't want your luggage. Or sorry, if you don't want your luggage, fly KLM. If you like delays, fly KLM. If you like Amsterdam, fly KLM. Because there is absolutely no doubt, if you fly with KLM, you will be staying in Amsterdam.
I should probably butt in and say, Kiko had an unfortunate experience getting home. And we probably shouldn't delve too much into it for reasons of legality.
No, I'm only saying, it just balances out. KLM, and I can assure you now, are the absolute best airline I've ever flown with. Their food on the plane is magnificent.
You just slagged them off a minute ago.
For some reason, they are so unpunctual, they wouldn't even get a grade E at an English A-level. That's how bad they are. That is how bad they are.
Well,
they're just so disorganised.
So should I fly with them or not? I don't.
Yes, if you want a top quality flight, fly with them.
Okay.
If you have like a 3-hour gap in between your next flight, don't. You need about 7 weeks.
But if you're expecting to get home at a certain point, then
forget it.
Okay.
Forget it.
I see.
If you have a lot of time in your hand, you don't have work the next day, fly with them. Brilliant airline.
Fair enough. And considering that, I, to be honest, I don't know what you're complaining about. You were there for well over a week. So, an extra night.
Well, an extra night is the reason.
It's not like you were on like a business thing and you had to be back by like 6 a.m. or something or whatever.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But I had so many things to do today that I had, like yesterday, that I couldn't. So I had to put them on stay, and I'm away tomorrow again, off to Alton Park. So I'm leaving with 1,000,001 things to do. And none of them are Dalmatian.
And, since we're talking, you mentioned briefly about Alton Park. I don't think there is a couple. I'm still thinking of food here.
That's a surprise.
I don't think that.
So we do the top 6 British Superbike riders made it through to the show.
Yes. Because it's been so long since we talked about BSB, and we got distracted with pizzas for like £1 and stuff. So yes, back to BSB then, and the showdown riders are
Shane Byrne, top of the tree, 6 points ahead of Leon Haslam, who is a further 4 points ahead of Josh Brooks. They are your top 3, not particularly unexpected, I suppose. Fourth place, bit of a surprise, Jake Dixon. So happy that he's in. So happy that Jake Dixon has got through that. He's so deserved. It's unbelievable. He's only 14 points behind Shane Byrne. And Dixon, good form. 5th for Peter Hickman. He's won a race this year. And 6th place for Jason Halloran. He is the only rider not to have won a race this year. Luke Mossey just missed out. Only just, as did Christian Eden. James Ellison, I told you he wouldn't get in, and he didn't get in. And Dan Linfoot obviously took his first win, but didn't score any points in the other 2 races at Silverstone. He couldn't make it to the showdown anyway. That's your top 10. But that showdown, now it's been confirmed, be in for some of the fiercest races, some of the hardest racing you will ever see at British Superbikes, because this year it's the closest top 4 you have ever had since the showdown began in 7 seasons. That is the closest top 4. 14 points between Shane Byrne and Jake Dixon. That is remarkable. Incredible.
Yeah, I literally can't sort of predict anything. Yeah.
Like I say, you've got your favourites, but they're not outrights.
Anything could happen. But saying that, then I suppose I'll ask you, Kiko, what will happen this weekend to Alton Park? 2 races.
Whatever I say, the total opposite.
Okay, so who's going to win the races?
I don't know who's going to win the races. Shane Byrne went well there when we was last at Alton, 2nd and 1. Leon Haslam, I think, won the first race, and he had a massive crash in the second. And Josh Brooks goes there now with Stuart Winton, who he didn't have when he went there previously, so that will be a big boost for him. Jake Dixon is in good form. Not a massively stellar Alton Park earlier in the year, but he's writing record books this year. He's absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe how this rider has adapted so quickly. He started winning and it just clicked. It's been top 60s ever since, really.
Kind of dominated at Knockhill, remember?
Oh, domination. He's 2 wins, a double. That's incredible from Jake. That really is. And mentioned it before. I won't say why, but it's very well documented elsewhere. Big shout out to the Roberts family, Jake's fiancée Sarah. That what's going on there, that's another reason I'm so happy, because Jake deserves it. Everything that's going on behind the scenes, there will be a lot of pressure and emotion there. So I'm so happy that Jake Dixon has gone in for that reason, as well as, he's just been a top quality rider all year, It wouldn't do justice if he wasn't in there.
So, you've not actually made a prediction there, I noticed.
Okay, sorry. All right.
You kind of mentioned everyone's name and then said, that he's good and yada yada.
All right, I'll say, okay. You're going to play that game, are we, Lester, my son? All right, we'll go Josh Brooks for a double then, shall we?
A double, okay. Or as they call it in Kiko world, a large. Yes. Okay.
Oh dear. So, no, I think Josh, he'll definitely be. It's going to be. I reckon it'll be definitely the top 3.
So, Josh, if you tuned in, you can blame Kiko, and there you go. It could. I mean, Shaky's not had a win for quite a while. He could. He knows how to do it, doesn't he? He knows how to step up when it's time to step up. He knows how to dominate when it's time to dominate.
In the last 7 races, he's only had 2 podiums. He's only finished 3 races. Been a mega late. Even worse if you're Leon Haslam.
He's not really had that many wins all season, to be honest. I think I can count.
Jake Byrne, on average, scores around 8 to 12 wins a year. He's had 5 this year, and there's 7 to go. So, chances of him winning all of the last 7, unlikely. I don't know. Leon, you could be Leon Haslam. He hasn't scored a point in the last 4 races.
I'm going to make a prediction, which is quite rare. I'll say that it will be Shaky Byrne who gets a double win at Alton this weekend.
Right, £5, Lester.
Nope.
£5 says he won't.
No, I'm not betting. I'll just make the prediction.
What are you, man or mouse?
I'm someone without £5.
Oh, likewise. I was over to games. No, okay, no. Leon Haslam likes Alton, of course. No, he goes well there.
Yes. And nothing against Leon. I do think maybe, like I said earlier, for that reason why we will see Shane come good when it's time to come. He's a bit like Michael Schumacher. In some of the seasons where he wasn't completely, totally dominant, like this season, for example, he still managed to eke out the results that he needed to do and kind of do the. I mean, he's still, top spot with the most points for now, anyway. And he's got the most podium points, and he's had the most wins so far. So I think he's got the most experience of winning. He knows how to do it. He knows exactly what's required, and he has all of that experience. I think he'll probably do a double somehow this weekend. Yeah,
interesting. I'm just reading here. With the exception of Brands Hatch, since Brands Hatch, Jake Dixon. So we're talking Thruxton, Cadwell Park, and Silverstone. He hasn't been out of the top 10 since race 2, Brands Hatch. And he has had, in that time, 4 podiums as well. He's come good at the right time, as Jake, as has Josh Brooks, another one. 2 wins since Brands Hatch. Crashed out second, of course, at Brands Hatch.
One person that I think we neither of us has mentioned yet, who I'm sure you would heartily agree, and it's not because we're writing him off. It's just that for no particular reason. But Peter Hickman, he
very quiet of late, though. He has been quiet of late. I think a lot of people, including myself, and I will go down as saying this, expected him to do the double at Cadwell Park. He only got 1 podium. Finished both races. Hasn't done a lot since, though.
He's been better this half of the season than he was in the first half.
Definitely, totally agree. Got his first podium at Thruxton of the season, I believe. I'm just looking now, just double check I'm right. Yes, I am. first podium of the year at Thruxton, followed by his first win of the year in race 2.
And I don't think you can, given the conditions of Silverstone, for example, I don't think you can really read people's finishing performances into their overall season performances, or read like a pattern into it, because as everybody showed, apart from Brad Ray, that Silverstone was kind of just a case of hanging onto your bike.
Yeah, Silverstone was a very difficult one, I think, in all races. Shane Byrne, with just the one podium point, has hindered him. Josh Rooks, like I said, there was the massive gainer in all of that. He got 7. Jay Dixon got 1. Shane Byrne got 1, but apart from that, none of the top 6 who were there got 1. So, interestingly, Jason Allen was 4th and 3rd at Alton Park earlier in the year, with a Honda that was still only just working and coming good. So Jason Allen, he may pick up his first win. And I believe that if he does, it will be the first year since 1998 that British Superbikes has had 10 winners in a year.
Oh, really?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. I know they had 10 wins in 98, though.
How old were you in 98? You must have been...
-1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Towards the end of 1998, I knew I was on my... Well, my parents knew I was on my way.
Fair
But
enough.
I don't think at the start of the year they did.
I feel very old right now.
Yes, well, you can tell that. That's why I'm looking at you.
Thank you.
Look,
Yeah,
But-
so, yeah.
it's great to see. I'll tell you what is great to see. Ducati, Kawasaki, Yamaha, BMW, Honda.
Variety,
5 makes of bikes in the top 6. The only one we're missing is a Suzuki. Great stuff.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, the diversity of the current BSB.
Yes.
We could end up in a situation where the right, and it was always, I suppose, always going to be a danger. I mean, it's perhaps, maybe I might get more people disagreeing with me here now than previously, but the showdown was always contentious when it was introduced, for good reasons,
Yes.
maybe for the right reasons, but still, it always had the danger of the potential of a rider winning the championship who just would never, ever have won in normal circumstances.
But that's what makes this championship so good. That you can have 6 riders effectively right in the hunt for the championship. This year, it would not surprise me to see all 6 riders still in with a shout come Brands Hatch. It's great for the sport. It doesn't take all it does, right? It's like the safety car, right? Someone goes out in the lead, 6-second lead, the safety car's brought out. It just dials them back a bit. It brings the racing closer. That's what the showdown does. The showdown comes. It doesn't say the top rider in the main part of the year can't win it. It just says, listen, you're being brought back a little bit closer to make it a better spectacle. It's like in IndyCar. I can't believe I'm going to talk 4-wheel. IndyCar, they have the caution.
The pace car.
Yeah, but they at some circuits, they like the ovals, they throw that out on purpose. I think they call it a strategy caution or something like that.
Yeah, it's been known, yeah.
So I think they did it in Texas this year.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's too, I suppose, and I'm sure, BSB,
The problem
exactly,
is, the 2 years before the showdown was brought in, Shane Byrne had walked off with the championship in 2008, and Leon Camier walked off with the championship in 2009. And Stuart Higgs, very clever decision, decided that we can't have this every year because no one's going to watch it. The racing will be amazing, but the championship's being wrapped up with 3 or 4 rounds to go, or at least 3 or 4 races to go. It's very rare in any championship that it goes down to the wire, like to the last race of the year. We've seen the showdown. Josh Brooks won in 2015 before the last race of the year. But without the showdown, we wouldn't have had Tommy Hill and John Hopkins in 2011, the classic British race. But across all classes, it was just an absolutely hair-raising moment. So without the showdown, you wouldn't have had that. So for me, the showdown's an amazing thing. And it makes British Superbikes unique, and it makes it stand out. And that's brilliant.
there is or maybe less so the possibility, but there is a slight possibility that someone could win the championship who's not even won a race. And wouldn't there be an outcry from people, rightly so, perhaps?
No, I don't think it'd be rightly so. People might cry about it, but they just have to cry into the beer pot at the end of the year, really, wouldn't they? Because
I suppose as long as there's a good show, and like you say,
it's happened before. We're in a straightforward championship in World Supersports in 2000. Andrew Pitt on a Kawasaki did not win one race. He still won the championship though on consistency. It can happen, and again, to finish first you must finish. And if you finish all races, or almost all the races, you're in with a shout. Carl Fogarty in 1998 only won 3 races in World Superbikes, but it was the most consistent throughout the year. Therefore, he took the championship. And
the opposite could happen, of course. A return to... I mean, the whole point of the showdown could be sort of defeated if, for example, one particular rider absolutely goes ahead and totally dominates, and everyone else, for various reasons, drops massive amount of potential points, and it's won before not the final round, but it could be won, that sort of thing. So it's more unlikely with this set of scenarios, but
it's more unlikely. Still could happen.
Or maybe I'm just worrying over nothing. I don't know.
No, because it could happen. Don't think it happened this year though. But we've seen before. Josh Brooks won it in with the race to go in 2014 because Ryuichi Kiyanari crashed in warm up. Shane Byrne had more or less already won. He'd already won the championship. All he needed to do was stay on. So, for me, the showdown creates an atmosphere across the last 3 rounds of the year where anyone can win it. Whereas in the last 2 rounds of the year, of some years gone by, championship's been wrapped up with 7 or 8 races to go. In 2003, Shane Byrne walked off with the championship at Cadwell Park, which was so early on. It's very rare that, like in 2000, it went down to the last race of the year, and it was close. Like, it wasn't someone had to finish 11th to win. Chris Walker had to finish in the top 4 to win, and he didn't. He retired with an engine failure. But it's rare that you get that. It's rare that you get 2 of the best in a championship going head-to-head all year long, and it still needs sorting out at the last race of the year. That's what makes motorcycle racing so special. But what makes British Superbikes even more special is that you could have 6 of the best in the country going head-to-head right up until the last round of the year. And I hope, as a fan and as a journalist, that's exactly what happens.
Okay, well, that's answered my concerns, I suppose, about anything that I had. Just thoughts, really, rather than concerns. I
thought.
Go on.
Shall we go and have a look at the World Superbike standings?
Oh, yeah, because I hadn't completely forgotten.
Because we have World Superbikes this weekend.
Yay, as everyone says.
Johnny Ray has walked off with his championship so far. He's on 381 points, 70 ahead of Tom Sykes.
Now, is this a championship that would benefit from having like a showdown?
Absolutely. Massively. Because then you've got 4 Brits, an Italian as it stands, and a Spaniard in Xavi Forez, going for the ultimate crown. But what you'd have to do is you just have to do away with podium credits and just say 500. Do it on...
so literally just level everything.
Yeah, 500. Do it on pole positions, because you can only qualify for 1 pole now. So you could only ever qualify for 1 pole. So do it on pole positions. Fastest laps, that would be a good one, because you can only set 1 fastest lap in a race that stands until the end of the race.
I think I like the idea of just literally the top 6, just wipe the slate clean. Yeah, everyone starts on, an equal 500 or 0 or whatever or something.
Yeah. Because, again, though, looking at last year, Chaz Davies, if we based World Superbikes on last year's points from the second half, so that was race 2 at Donington Park onwards, it would have been Chaz Davies, Tom Sykes and Jonathan Ray. That's what the championship order would have been. 235 with Davies, 230 with Sykes, 225 with Jonathan Ray. So, unfortunately, it's just the first half of the season. Everyone seems to give Jonathan Ray the biggest jump start ever, and he walks off with it until the end of the year. He's going to be champion. We know that. We don't need rocket science to tell us that.
Or would it be, for example, having a showdown in World Superbikes, would that be kind of unfair to the riders and the teams and stuff who have managed to put everything together really well, done all the right things in the right way at the right time? Could they be penalised for that way?
No, I don't think they should, because, and this is after a very long conversation with BT Sport commentator Julian Ryder in the paddock on Saturday at Mazzano. We have to understand World Superbikes a little bit here. All the big factories have always said it is not for a factory to go into. But Kawasaki are not a motorcycle racing brand. They are originally like heavy machinery, industry, shipbuilding manufacturers. So motorcycle racing is kind of like a little bit of a backbone. They don't need to do it, but go on and we'll chuck a factory team in World Superbikes. So therefore, they put the money in. Therefore, they win. That's what they do. That's what they are doing. So, I think, personally, that's why Kawasaki are dominating. If you look back through all the years of World Superbike, so in 2000 or 99 through to about 2003, 2005, France's Batter run the Alstari Corona team, privateer team with factory support. Yamaha now currently run privateer team with some factory support. Ducati throw a factory team in. Aprilia are the same. Sean Muir is a privateer team with some factory Aprilia support. Honda are a privateer team with Ronald Ten Carter with factory support. Kawasaki are a factory team. Ducati are a factory team. Hence why the top four in the championship are walking off with it. Especially Jonathan Ray. He has walked off with it. So, I don't think you could ever say that bringing in like a showdown style format would penalise the team, because, World Superbikes at the end of the day isn't really for massive factory support. It's happened before with Benelli and Bimota, they've won. But even then, Bimota was run by Virginio Ferrari. So, and it was a privateer team with factory support. So, there's never really been massive factory support for World Superbikes. One or two teams, yes, but never massive. Never to the point where it's like absolutely every team is factory.
So would it be unfair then? No, I don't think it'd be unfair, because World Superbikes. I mean, they're still teams, even though they're not. Like you said, they're not factory as such. They're still. You still get a race team as such, and there's still the racing family that goes around, even though it's not.
Right, is what is the guy's name? Harold Eckerol or someone like that. They used to run the Kawasaki team as a privateer team. Then Paul Bird ran the World Superbike privateer team. Unfortunately, at a time where Ducati was still a full factory team. When they had Davide Tedozzi running it and blah blah blah, Xerox Ducati days. But even then, it was. You're going to need more than just bringing Kawasaki as a factory out of it and Ducati as a factory out of it. You're going to need regulation changes to make it even more competitive, as well as, because what you don't want just token top six getting in. You don't want it a race for the fifth and sixth to get in, because the top four, Kawasaki and Ducati, is always in the game. You need to make it so the top six is a scrap to get in. That's what you need, I believe.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
And I think we'll have to leave that for another day, Lester, because we are at the end of our show.
Yeah, certainly. 2 hours has flown past. We've talked about everything from £1 drinks and where to buy the best pizzas in Bologna, and which trains to get to go to get more pizzas and drinks, basically. And so it's
talked about bikes in a little bit as well.
Yeah, we did talk a bit about bikes as well in between Kiko's Black Pudding Tour of Britain and Assen. So literally, I mean, where is the next place that you'll be going to then on your travels?
Well,
what have you got planned? Iraq?
I do want to go to Malaysia at the end of October. So that's going to take a lot of hard work and graft, because I want to go to the Malaysian Grand Prix and meet up with my friends at BT. But my next actual booked holiday isn't until February. So,
You've got a bit of a problem there, haven't you?
What? Well, what's the problem?
Well, because your next holiday isn't until February, and you want to.
Oh yeah, that is the big problem.
Yeah.
And another problem is we're flying KLM, so we probably won't get there till June.
What, after you've just slagged them off?
No, we'd already booked before.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay,
So probably won't get there till June.
And you have to keep like come back on here with like a video diary or something, and tell us exactly what happened in your exploits in Malaysia. I forget exactly when that is.
October the 29th is the Malaysian Grand Prix weekend. Probably be sold out now after the show having got podium in Moto 2.
So end of next month. It's a few weeks away.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. Alton Park. Just remind us who did you say was going to win again?
I said Josh Brooks for the double.
And I said Shaky Byrne.
And we'll come back and we'll say, well, Jason O'Halloran won both races on the Sunday. But I'd be close because I said an Australian.
Or it could be the fact that we could have another Silverstone and all of the top 6 in the showdown just gets...
I cannot deal with that just now. I need a week off. I need a holiday. I genuinely need a holiday.
You never know. Whatever Kiko says is the opposite of basically just ask Ollie Walker, Cool Fab Racing rider. Sorry, I keep mentioning it, though, but I'm not going to play it again. No. So that's it. Another Superbike show on Motorsport Radio done. Join up to the website, motorsport.radio. Join as a listener and get the inside line on all the latest gossip from Kiko Alexander Giles. And check out his musings and scribblings on the Pit Crew online. And how can people get in touch with you directly, Kiko?
At MotoGP Kiko is my Twitter handle. Probably easiest to do it that way. Or send me a nice message on
Twitter?
Facebook. Kiko Alexander Giles is what you need.
Okay, good. And do stay tuned to Motorsport Radio. And thank you very much for tuning in for Superbike show here on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester, Kiko Alexander Giles, and I'll be back again on Monday to review everything that happened over the weekend. And hopefully we'll be back again next Wednesday to talk more Superbikes as well. So
see you then.
Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.